Maria, and as you might have noticed, I'm an AI-generated avatar. Today, I'll present you this edition of the festival. Over the next 3 days, we will explore the horizons of intelligence. This is the theme of the 13th edition of the Scientific Research Festival. At Trieste Next, we will discuss both human and artificial intelligence, ethical boundaries, and the new frontiers science is facing. Where will artificial intelligence take us? What impact will it have on research? Medicine, robotics, astrophysics, food and nutrition, and the environment are just a few of the scientific fields we will delve into at Trieste Next. This is the central theme of Trieste Next, featuring over 100 events in English and Italian, the Literary Award for the Scientific Book of the Year, and 70 activities for schools. More than 300 internationally renowned speakers will be in Trieste. And don't forget to visit the 40 exhibition spaces and open labs in Piazza Unita. Before we welcome the guests of the next event, on behalf of the organizers and co-organizers, I would like to thank all the scientific institutions of Trieste, City of Knowledge, as well as the institutions that collaborated with us. A special thanks goes to the festival's main partner, the partners and content partners for their crucial contributions. Thanks also to the media and technical partners. Lastly, a heartfelt thanks to the 200 volunteers who made this edition possible. One final note. I'd like to remind you that the next session will last 75 minutes, with the final 15 minutes dedicated to your questions. Please also remember to check the updated event schedule on www.triestenext.t, which you can access via the QR code. Enjoy the event and have a great festival.
Welcome everyone. I'm Fabio De Pascale and I welcome you to this event, Microbi and Climates. On stage with me we have Heribert Insam, professor at the University of Innsbruck and now working at the company BioTreaT and the Science Center MikroMondo, and Iris Bertani from the ICGEB, the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, and she works on the Batteriology lab, sorry. So this event is brought to you by the International Center of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology and the project CEDRIC that we will talk about later. So together we also have Sara, Righetto and Alessandro Pasqual duo. And so we want to talk to you about microbes and climate. It's a tough scientific topic that Heribert and Iris will talk about with you and with us all. And we thought that mixing these scientific contents with music could also talk to you about the topics on a different level, on the level that music can connect with you. So because and this is well, we can start with the first song because it was before my speech.
L'acqua si riempie di schiuma, il cielo di fiumi, la chimica lebbra distrugge la vita nei fiumi, uccelli che volano a stento, malati di morte. Il freddo interesse alla vita ha sbarrato le porte. Un'isola intera ha trovato nel mare una tomba, il falso progresso ha voluto provare una bomba, poi pioggia che toglie la sete alla terra che è viva e invece le porta la morte perché è radioattiva. Eppure il vento soffia ancora, spruzza l'acqua alle navi sulla prora e sussurra canzoni tra le foglie, bacia i fiori, li bacia e non li coglie. Un giorno il denaro ha scoperto la guerra mondiale, ha dato il suo putrido segno all'istinto bestiale, ha ucciso, bruciato, distrutto in un triste rosario, e tutta la terra si è avvolta in un nero sudario, e presto la chiave nascosta di nuovi segreti così copriranno di fango persino i pianeti, vorranno inquinare le stelle, la guerra tra i soli, i crimini contro la vita li chiamano errori, eppure il vento soffia ancora, spruzza l'acqua alle navi sulla prora e sussurra canzoni tra le foglie, bacia i fiori, li bacia e non li coglie, eppure sfiora le campagne, accarezza sui fianchi le montagne e scompiglia le donne fra i capelli e corre a gara in volo con gli uccelli, eppure il vento soffia ancora.
Thank you. So this song was Pure Sofia by Pierangelo Bertoli, and you may wonder why we decided to mix science and music, and that's because artists like Pierangelo Bertoli can think about the problems that society is facing and telling that in a different way that science can do. So we are here to talk about the same problem at the science level and also at the artistic level and see what comes out. So we can now listen to the little piece of Sound of Silence, and then you can talk us about the Sound of Science, maybe. So let's do Sound of Silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left the seat while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walk alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, need a halo of a street lamp, turn my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stubborn by the flash of a neon light, the split at night, and touch the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never shade, and no one there disturbed the sound of silence.
Thank you. So this was Sound of Silence, as we all know. And this song inspired you to start with Sound of Science. This a project of communication of science that you start about. Can you tell us something about it?
Yes,
Can we
Fabio.
start with the presentation, please?
Yes, Fabio, exactly. We should have more sounds of science everywhere, and we should make use of the music to help us to communicate this to the people. And we have a huge problem in communicating science in all of Europe, especially in Italy and also in Austria, where I'm coming from. And there has been a survey about the appreciation of science in all of Europe 1 year ago. And the outcome was disastrous, especially for Austria and Italy. And I now want you to participate a little bit in that, what I am going to tell. And I want to help me make, to hear what the audience is understanding. And I do this by humming. Humming in Italiano is canticare a bocca chiusa, so like, and now everybody, Now only the females. Now only the males. Okay? The public, you have to participate, every one of you. Don't be silent. Communicate with me. Please, hum now. Canticcia senza la bocca. Bene. Who of you is speaking English only? Please. Now, hum now. Italian only, hum now. Solo italiano? Okay, English and Italian. Anyways, one of the questions was, of this survey, of the European survey, do you agree that young people's interest in science is essential for our future prosperity? In italiano, sei d'accordo che l'interesse dei giovani per la scienza è essenziale per la nostra prosperità futura? Who agrees to this, please hum now. Who disagrees, please now. Okay, this is a microbiology collection of specialists, and you have different answers than the broad public. This is why you attend the Trieste Science Week. The result of the European survey was, in Austria, only 27% said, yes, this is important that young people have an interest in science. Only 27%. In Italy, it was 36%, a little bit better. The best country was Portugal. Portugal had 80% of people said, yes, this is important. And this is where we have to go. You agree? The hum now. Okay. Thank you. But now we are going to talk about climate issues also. Do you know these stripes up there? Have you ever seen these stripes? If yes, hum now. Do you know what they mean? Please hum now. Okay? You see, it is science. Communication is very difficult. You see these stripes everywhere. In some places, buses are having these stripes mounted, or you see it on universities, you see it on web pages, but few people know about it. It's about the change of temperature compared to an average of the past 150 years, starting from 1860. And the more red it gets, the hotter it gets. And unfortunately, the organizers, especially Susanna, they have reduced the number of slides that I was supposed to show. So I had to make another mode of showing that what I want to tell you. And yesterday I bought in a drugstore una corda multiusa, a multi-purpose string. This is now what I'm going to show you. With this multi-purpose string, I can show you exactly the Keeling curve. You may know the Keeling curve. Okay, this is very new, this string. I can't get it apart. The Keeling curve is showing the development of the temperature the past 67 years. Since 1957, they are making this curve. Actually, it shows the CO2 in the atmosphere since 1957. I don't know why they exactly started in the year when I was born. Thank you, Fabio, for aiding me. I thought it's easier. I start with the second chord here. So this works better. Okay. Thank you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. It's fine like this. And this killing curve is since 57 years. And it does not appear that the CO2 in the atmosphere changed so much. So I'm not talking about the CO2 in the atmosphere in the killing curve. But if you change the scale of the curve to 65 million years, we can do that. If you change it to 65 million years, it gets very long here, and over here, this is now 65 million years. And after, and sometimes we had a bit higher CO2, then it went down again, went up again, but it never went up as fast up as it did the past 70 years after Industrial Revolution, the CO2. At the same time, you do the measurement of the temperature. And that's the interesting part. The temperature, that's the temperature line. This is exactly matching the CO2 line. And this is one of the proofs that CO2 in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, has to do with the temperature. And don't believe anything else. That's the truth. We're not talking about fake truth here, we are talking about science. And there is a lot of people who deny that. Okay, this is what this line says. And what does that have to do with bacteria? But I think Fabio has a question, haven't you?
I have a comment, because the thing that you show us is that is an evidence that science is putting ahead of us. But always, well, not always, but unluckily often, science goes on listening in the society, but mostly within the government. And we also have a song talking about this, because Paul McCartney wrote the song despite repeated warnings that actually talk about how the climate warnings that science is giving us goes on listening. So, thank you.
Despite repeated warnings from those who hard to know, well, he's got his own agenda, and so he'll go. That's we shout the loudest. We not always be the smartest, but they have the proudest moment right before the fall.
What can we do?
Red sky in the morning.
What can we do?
Doesn't ever seems to face him, but a sailor word is sign and should concern us. Oh, 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 oh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How can we stop him? Grab the keys and let me up. If we can do it, we can say the day he engineered us with his wife and daughter Janet, but his misses them so. I thought he's working with the best crew on his planet. We never wanted to go. He had got a premonition. He said there's something wrong, and by his own admission, he knew it all along. The captain's crazy, but it doesn't let them know it. He take us with, and then we do the something to show it. How can we stop him? Grab the keys and lock me up. If we can do it, we can save the day. No brakes, the engineers cries. The captain's gonna leave, so when the temperature rise, the needle's going up, the danger's gonna blow, and we are gonna blow this down below, down below, down below.
Thank you. So this song talks about our blindness in front of the climate crisis and the warnings that science is throwing us, but we don't listen. It seems that we don't listen. So, Heribert, are we really blind, or we're just looking at the finger that is pointing to the moon?
We are really blind. I mean, look at our political leaders that are acting like this Capitan, this Capitano, who is not hearing, and the boat will drown, and all the passengers will drown, and the political leaders don't believe the science, and definitely, yeah. But now I have to come to the topic. Microbes and climate. What do microbes have to do with climate? You all may know that the oxygen in our atmosphere has been invented 3.5 billion years ago. And actually it was bacteria who invented the oxygen. It was cyanobacteria who changed the whole atmosphere 3.5 billion years ago entirely. So this is the first major impact of microbes on the climate, but in effect, it made it possible that we are living. But even today, there is a lot of greenhouse gases being produced by microbes and consumed by microbes. And one of them is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is emitted by microbes that are decomposing material. The decomposing material in natural processes and also in man-made processes. There is methane, methano, CH4 that is being. The only producers of methane are special microbes that are called methanogenic microbes in the group of archaea. They are not bacteria, they are not plants, they are not fungi. They are another player in this whole microbial biodiversity. They are producing methane. Methane has a greenhouse gas potential 20 times as big as that of carbon dioxide. And then there is laughing gas, which is nothing to laugh, but it's very sad because the greenhouse gas potential of laughing gas is about 200 times higher than that of CO2, of carbon dioxide. And it's also emitted by microbes. And at the same time, it may also be consumed by microbes. The same story for methane. And there is DMS. Who has ever heard about DMS? Dimethylsulfopropionate. Please hum now. Yeah? You haven't heard about it, but you are breathing it every day. It is the smell of the ocean. The smell of the ocean is DMS. You can also have it in your kitchen in higher concentration if you are boiling cabbage. This is also DMS coming up. It's a sulfur compound, and you smell it in your nose. And if you live along the sea, you don't smell it because you're used to it. Myself, when I'm traveling from Austria to Italy, I start to smell some different odor, and for me, this is, every time I'm coming, this is new. This is the smell of the sea. This is the smell of vacation, of vacaciones, vacation. And yes, and this DMS has a huge impact on the climate. We are actually living in a cyanobacterial world. This DMS is mainly coming from cyanobacteria and decomposition products of them. And apart from the cyanobacteria having been the first organisms that produced oxygen, they currently contribute 70% of the oxygen that is being produced by the vegetation. So trees and plants on the land, it's only 30%. Cyanobacteria in the sea is 70%. And they're also important for nitrogen fixation. That means that they have a biological possibility to get nitrogen from the atmosphere into the biosphere. And this is very important because we have a lot of nitrogen in the biosphere, in the atmosphere, that is very strongly bound with a triple bound N2. It's hard to break it apart, and these organisms can do it. And this DMS is emitted from the ocean, and it is serving as a nucleus for cloud formation. Now, this is very nice for us, because the clouds they are forming, they're giving us the rain, but if the ocean gets warmer and warmer, there is being more DMS produced, and these microorganisms get more active, and it may even be that all these floodings, inundaciones lately in Emilia-Romagna, in Austria, in Czech Republic, they are caused at least by microorganisms. This is a very, very direct effect of microorganisms on the climate.
So you're telling us that the amount of DMS in the atmosphere makes more rain.
It makes more rain.
And then the increase of the DMS in the atmosphere is due to what?
To bacteria, to the phytoplankton and the bacterial plankton that is living in the sea, that is responsible for the turnover of the organic matter, that is responsible for the microbial activity in the sea, that is actually the beginning of the food chain. The microbes are growing, and then some phytoplankton members are eating the microbes, and the whales or fish are eating, small fish are eating the plankton, and in the end there is a food chain initiated by the microbes. But they produce DMS during their activity.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful.
And I think the next song
will be about
will
flooding.
be about the flooding.
The day the basement flooded was a nasty rainy Wednesday in the fall. Now this water started pouring through a hole here in the wall, and I was freaking out and wondering who the hell I'm supposed to call. The day the basement flooded, I was whining in my jammies on the street, trying to sweep away the water that was pulling at my feet. And you went out and go as bagels, 'cause you said I had to eat. And it wasn't as romantic as the day 2 years ago, when we walked his bruises both bones and you kissed me in the snow. But you carried up the buckets and you waited in the mud. I was glad that you were with me in the flood. The day the basement flooded, I was thinking about Noah and the ark, when the water started rising and the sky was getting dark. It must have felt just freaking awful when the time came to embark. It master felt so lonely and so helpless on his crazy floating zoo, until his wife came out and say, honey, you got stuff you need to do. So I guess that's why God told him you should go it 2 by 2. 'Cause I bet it and his wife would stand on deck and have some laugh. Even thought of all their friends were dead, at least you can't do reference. But they mop of all the vomit and the footballs and the bloat. They were glad to have each other in the float. And now I hear that the ice caps all are melting, and pretty soon New York will be a lake. So the basement was a practice run for weather times when things are fun. I think we did okay for our first day. If the planet foods, I think I'll leave my basement problem really screw. We should move to higher ground in like a drier attitude. And I will be in charge of whipping, you're in charge of finding food. 'Cause the food are pretty scary and it made me not so great. But if the end of time is coming, I'm glad I've got a date. We have to start a new world, 'cause the current ones are dead. I hope that you will beat me in the flow.
This song was The Day the Basement Floated, and is from Phoebe Kruns. It tells about having a normal life, how it's possible to have a normal life, to try to have a normal life when your basement is floating under the rain. So it was difficult to find the text, they told us, because this artist is, less known than some others. So let's go back to the science and tell us how the microbes that produce DMS are connected. Well, we learned that they are connected with the flows, but how this is all connected with climate changes. Please.
Yes, maybe first I should add that this song that was just sung by the duo that has been sung for the first time after the Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and it is rather optimistic. Grazie per questo canzone optimistico. But back to the microbes, and thank you, Iris, for telling me that I should not go out of the range of the camera. Yes. So I stay here, and in the background, you see now some other functions of microbes that have to do with the climate, and this is one of the reasons why I'm here in Trieste, because it's the outcome of a joint project with the ICGEB, and it's about soils. And soils are known that they can act as a reservoir of carbon. And we would be very well advised to keep this carbon in the soils. And how can we keep this carbon in the soils? By creating situations for the microbes that they cannot decompose the organic matter as easily. Now, on the left side, here you see the peatland. Peatland you find in huge amounts in the north of this globe. in the tundra in Russia and in Sweden and in Canada. And there, a lot of carbon is stored for tens or even hundreds of meters. Historic peats are storing the carbon. And now, as climate is warming, it gets a bit warmer for the microbes, and the permafrost that is protecting this peat is melting, and the microbes start to eat up the peat. And this way, methane, CH4 and carbon dioxide are released to the atmosphere, further accelerating the concentration of these two important greenhouse gases. And on the other hand, there is forests and grassland that have a medium amount of carbon stored in their soils. And on the lower end is the arable land. The arable land where we are growing our vegetables, where we are growing other crops, that is depleted in carbon because for many, many years the humans have used the plow to till the land, to turn up the soil, particularly to get rid of the weeds. And this way, much of oxygen is entering the system, and the microbes can more easily degrade, eat up the carbon that is stored in the former forest or in the former grasslands, and it's released into the atmosphere. And of course, there is some methods that help to reduce the microbial activity, which could be organic farming by using organic fertilizers that return some of the carbon into the system instead of using artificial fertilizer, and crop rotations, and bare land for a few for a few months of the year that helps in keeping the carbon into the within the soil. And to give you an estimate of that, what happens happened in the past 80 years, since 1940, I have made a comparison of the carbon of the greenhouse gases that are being released by air traffic. That was 37 gigatons CO2 in the past 80 years. That's the only figure I'm showing you today. And 10 gigatons were released only by agricultural activity, so using the plow, compared to reduced tillage agriculture. So you can see there could be a slight contribution of agriculture. If we reduce our tillage, we could save 10 gigatons of carbon dioxide within 80 years. On the other hand, 3 times more carbon dioxide is being released by air traffic, and we can see how important air traffic is in terms of greenhouse gas, the release of greenhouse gases. It still makes up only 2% of world greenhouse gases that are being produced. So there is other sources, other human-made sources. And yeah, at this point, I think Fabio wanted to introduce Iris.
Sara and Alessandro will have something
yes,
to
we have
tell
another
us,
sound.
because
Yeah.
when we start talking about this, at some point we think about how can be society, human society, if nature take over, because now we are taking over nature, but what happens if nature take over human society?
Here we stand like an Adam and Eve, waterfalls, the Garden of Eden, two fools in love, so beautiful and strong, the birds and the bees are smiling upon them from the age of the dinosaurs, 'cause I've run on gasoline. Where have they gone now? It's nothing but flowers. There was a factory, now there are mountains and flowers.
You got it, you got it.
We killed a rattlesnake, now we get something for dinner.
We got it, we got it.
There was a shopping mall, now it's a cover with flowers.
You got it, you got it.
This is a paradise, I wish I had lemon hour.
You got it, you got it.
Years ago, I was an hungry young man. I pretend that I was a billboard standing tall by the side of the road. I fell in love with a beautiful highway. There used to be real estate, and now it's only fields and trees. Where is the town now? It's nothing but flowers. The highway and cars were sacrificed for agriculture. I thought we start over, but I guess I was wrong. There was a parking lot, now it's a peaceful oasis.
You got it.
This was a Pizza Hut, now it's a covered with daisies.
You got it, you got it.
I miss the honky-tonks, the queers and 7-Eleven.
You got it.
And as things fall apart, now Peter paid much attention.
You got it, you got it.
I dream of cherry pies, candy bars and chocolate chip cookies.
You got it, you got it.
We used to microwave, now we just eat nuts and berries.
You got it, you got it.
This was a discount store, now it's a turn into cornfield.
You got it, you got it.
Don't leave me stranded here, I can't get used to this lifestyle.
This was Nothing But Flowers by the Talking Heads, and it talks about malls and cities covered by flowers and grasses. And so our lifestyles completely changes by nature. And that's what can happen if we don't do anything against the climate change, right? So that's we talk about the climate lifestyles of human society. How can what can we do to face the climate change?
There is a lots of options in that respect, if we look at that, what microbes can help us further in agriculture, there is, for example, this methane production in biogas plants that we have to push ahead. Yeah, that's a change of the lifestyle. You have to be aware that renewable fuels are helping us to not to restore the nature, but at least to reduce the greenhouse gas production. The use of additional manure on the fields will help us to bring back the carbon into the soil. I have already been talking about that. Or the use of microbes that has to do with microbial biodiversity that can fix nitrogen is very important. You see here on this graph nodules of plants. You may have heard of leguminous plants that are hosting rhizobia, that are bacteria that are fixing nitrogen from the atmosphere. And if you compare that with man-made fertilizer that is produced in the so-called Haber-Bosch process, which uses up almost 2% of the energy that is used by humans worldwide. Imagine 2% are used only for the nitrogen fixing in the Haber-Bosch process for chemical fertilizers, instead of making use of the microbes that are living in the soil anyways. And there is the microbes and microbial biodiversity helps to keep plants healthy, plant disease suppression in context with organic agriculture. So eat organic, that helps definitely the atmosphere. And of course, microbes help in mobilizing nutrients like phosphorus from soil. And this has all to do with soil biodiversity. And this perfectly leads us to our joint project with ICGEB. I
Yes,
always mix that up.
That is the what I wanted to ask you, Iris. I think that science is moving toward to find some other solutions. And what can you tell us about that? Except what is happening, what that Heribert told us, what can we do more if we study more?
Okay. Parlo? Sì. So science can do really a lot for helping the situation to improve, or at least to try to content the dangers of the situation. And I'm here just because when we invite Heribert to speak about climate change and microbes, we know that it fits perfectly with a project in which Heribert and I and other groups are involved, that is the CEDRIC project. CEDRIC project is a research project, but not also research, and I will get into detail in a few minutes. That is a project that tries to focus on soil microbial biodiversity potential to improve the ability to agriculture to be more sustainable, because we know from the songs and from what Heribert said that microbes are contributing also in a bad way to the climate change, but they can do also a very good job to help us to mitigate this problem and to help us to survive. Agriculture, okay, a lot of fields substitute flowers and forests, but we cannot make without agriculture because we are quite 9 billion people and we have all to eat. So we cannot avoid agriculture. We have to render agriculture that is very impacting in environment. We have to render agriculture more sustainable. And there are plenty of ways. We, in our lab, are trying an approach that uses microbial biopotential, because microbes, as Heribert said, has an enormous potential. They can fix nitrogen. The plants need a lot of nitrogen. They can unlock nutrients, phosphorus, iron, that are in the soil, but the plant has to take. Microbes are able to promote the growth of the plant because they are producing plant hormones. And they can also, and this is very important, keep the pathogen away, because this climate change, you see, make also a lot of new disease come out, and bacterial and microbes in general, bacterial and fungi, can do really a lot. CEDRIC is just focusing on this. And the idea of CEDRIC is, okay, then I go to the technical part, but now the scientific part. CEDRIC want to have a new approach. Until now, what is done is make fertilizing the soil, but this fertilization, if it is too heavy, clean the soil from microbes, and microbes die because they cannot handle all this chemical that is arriving in the soil. So we want to recover it, and we got to take it, these microbes, from a very rich
reservoir of microbes, that is the soil, and in particular the soil that is very near the roots of the plant, because the plants recruit the right microbes they need to grow better. This region is called rhizosphere and is full of microbes, and all microbes are called rhizospheric microbiome. I think that everybody of you have listened about the transplantation of human microbiome that was applied and was success in cure some disease, some human disease in catching the food, okay? And we want to transfer this success in human medicine to cure the agriculture. So what we do is we keep all the microbes that are growing near the roots of a healthy, beautiful plants, and we transfer all this community in a new seed. We cover the seed with these new natural microbes, and we plant the seed again in a soil that perhaps is a bit depleted or not so happy. And what is happening if the transplantation success? What is happening is that the seed germinate and the growing roots will find a very friendly environment full of the microbes that they need to grow up better and to better catch the nutrients that are in the soil, to catch them more efficiently. This clearly is an approach, a biological approach, but we don't have in mind to substitute completely the chemistry, because this is really utopistic and will never feed all the world. Biological agriculture is a niche agriculture, can feed just not a lot of persons, okay? So what we want to do is to create an integration between biology and chemistry to work together, so to arrive to decrease the fertilizer use. If I treat my seeds with the right microbes, instead of putting 100% of fertilizer, I can put just 80%, because they have the right microbes and they will catch all this 80%, so I avoid that the 20% that is missing go in the nature, in the water, and in the soil. So CEDRIC would like just to do this. It's a combination of 7 partners. It's an Interreg project, so it promotes collaboration between countries and neighbor regions. In fact, it's a Italia-Austria project. We have Italian expert and Austrian expert, and mix together research institutions and also companies, as the company of Heribert, that would like to see if this methodology can work. We will work on barley, that is, we choose this as a model plant, but if the methodology will have success, we can easily translate this methodology also on other plants. But most important, what we want to do is to start a new communication way with the people, with society, and with stakeholders. And to do this, we have set up a very beautiful, I make now advertisement, a very beautiful website that is here. You can use the QR code or the address, and to enter inside, and there you will find our project and the description of what we are doing and our progress, but also a lot of other stuff, like a knowledge tree, where we will put a lot of reports, webinar, podcast, and presentation that are at a divulgative level, so for non-expert, but also for expert people, so to increase the possibility to interact, because near the knowledge tree, there is also a forum where we can chat. You can chat with experts. We will try to answer or to give you perhaps the name of somebody or some presentation to listen or to hear, to understand the problem that are raising, studying agriculture. And then there is also a program of our appointments. We are organizing a presentation to schools and also presentation to foundation or association, cultural center. So also if you want to have or to organize a presentation on these topics, we will be really happy to participate. Just contact us through the website, and we will be happy to come and tell what we are doing at the scientific level and at the social level. Finally, I have 1 minute more.
Yeah, sure. I also have a questions for you. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. CEDRIC is an Interreg project, so it's funded by Europe. And as you know, Interreg projects are the projects that give importance to science, but also to society, and try to increase cooperation among neighbors region and to promote sustainable development. So look at the sustainability, because in this moment we cannot move without sustainability, and to address global challenges. And I think that CEDRIC, looking at agriculture and feeding and decreasing the impact of agriculture, is getting the point. This is
Thank you. Let me see if I get it straight. So let's point out some of what you said. So you said that with this project that you are taking on, you could be able to reduce the amount of fertilizer that goes into the soil, so without wasting it. But also having the same effect on plants grow and the amount of food that we need, right?
The microbe will substitute part of the fertilizer that I'm not putting. If I put nitrogen-fixing bacteria and then I give a smaller amount of nitrogen to them, since the bacteria are there, they can utilize it and take and give to the plants. If I put the nitrogen without giving the right bacteria, I will lose a lot of this nitrogen through the raining and everything. So it is a dispersive environment, let's say, approach.
Okay.
This is a bit more focused.
Yeah, and but also, we will need more food in the future, right? Because we will have, on one side, probably we will have less land that we will be able to grow plants on, but also we will be more people on Earth, and so this project can help us also on that.
One of the objects of this project was to try to recover also the soils that you cannot use anymore for agriculture because perhaps they are poor or they are ruined or they are abandoned. This methodology, if it functions, could help to restore biodiversity, microbial biodiversity in this soil, so they can start to be cultivated again. Clearly, it can increase the performance of the plant, but as I said, it's very difficult that biology alone can produce food for everybody, okay? Because we are already at the maximum that the land can give us. So we have to find other solutions to feed everybody. One could be using microbes to have less impact. It's not to produce more, but to permit this production, saving a bit the earth for the future next generation.
Yes.
This is it.
Okay, thank you. So, and this is how microbes can help us in the climate crisis on the agriculture side, right? So, but are there any other fields of human society and technology in which microbes can help us, Heribert?
Definitely there are. One of them is, for example, water purification, depurazione dell'acqua. And this is microbes that are doing that. So the microbes are removing the nitrogen out of the wastewater, and they are removing the phosphorus out of the wastewater that can be afterwards used again. And on the other side, the material that is remaining can be used as fertilizer. And still, the purification of the wastewater costs a lot of energy. It costs about 1.5% of all the energy humans are using just for pumping air into the nitrification pond of wastewater purification plants. Again, microbes may help, or microbiologists help to create an environment for very specific microbes, so-called anaerobic ammonia oxidizers, a process that has been further developed also at my university. And now worldwide, most of the wastewater treatment plants are turning to use this technology. One of them, for example, is the Blue Plains wastewater treatment plants of Washington, D.C. So that's where the President of the United States of America is sitting. And the scientists are already expecting that if the next president will be Trump again, and the huge amount of shit he is producing, that will make this Blue Plains wastewater treatment plant an energy generator instead of an energy user. That's an optimistic view of the whole thing. We will see. Still, microbes are helping us to restore, in that case, water, in other cases, the soil, in other cases, the air for our future use.
Yes, wonderful, thank you. So before moving to the questions and answer section, we will throw also a song that maybe inspire you in thinking about questions for the speakers.
We have the right song. Protect the wild, tomorrow's child. Protect the land from the greed of man. Take out the dams, stand up to oil. Protect the plants and renew the soil. Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? Who's gonna say that she's had enough? Who's gonna take on the big machine? Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? This all starts with you and me. And fossil fuel, draw the line before we build one more pipeline. And fracking now, let's save the water and build a life for our sons and daughters. Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? Who's gonna say that she's had enough? Who's gonna take on the big machine? Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? This all starts with you and me. Dam the dams, save the rivers, starve the takers and feed the givers. Let's build the green, let's save the world. We're the people known as Ark. Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? Who's gonna say that she's had enough? Who's gonna take on the big machine? Who's gonna stand up and save the earth? This all starts with you and me.
I will stand up. So this was Who's Gonna Stand Up by Neil Young. So we throw there a lot of topics, and so it's time for us to take your suggestions or questions or whatever. Yes, please.
Hi, hello, I'm Elena. I already know both of you, but I have a question about the comparison between healthy soil and a depleted soil, a soil with a poor microbial biodiversity. Is the difference more about the total amount of bacteria that you can find, so the amount of mass of bacteria, or also the types of bacteria that you found? And are certain bacteria more sensitive and they just disappear sooner when you have a maybe polluted soil, and are certain very robust?
Maybe you can say both you.
I think both what you said is correct. So some soils are poor because they are chemically poor, not organic matter, no carbon, no nitrogen, just poor because rain washed them out for everything, or they are poor because no rain occurs and so the salt concentration increase, and a live bacteria, a live microorganism can stand just a certain amount of salt as humans, so after they will die. And they became poor in number of microbes. And then there are some that have a biased biodiversity. So there is just one group of bacteria that is taking force and advantage from the other, and these make rich environment in bacteria, but a lower number of species. So since the community of microbe is important to be as more complete as possible, because we said that they have a lot of potential, but I am a bacteria that is able to fix nitrogen. He is a bacteria that is able to fix or to make free phosphorus, and he is a bacteria that is able to produce antibiotics. So the community is function, and the help to the environment is active if we work together, if the community is complete. If I am the only one there, I can fix kilos of nitrogen, but life cannot be supported. But it is because the other functions are missing. So it's important the equilibrium of the situation. No one has to win respect to the other. This is what I think.
Yeah, I would like to add something. Also, the biomass of the microbes is very important. If you imagine that in 1 hectare of soil that can sustain 1 cow, 500 kilograms, there is as many microbes in forms of biomass in this hectare of soil, and this serves as a slowly available nutrient pool of nitrogen, phosphorus, and micronutrients. So also the biomass itself is of importance.
Are there any other questions? Don't be shy. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. About the transplant of microbiome, is there the necessity of some kind of similarity between the source soil and the target soil, or is this quite
this is very interesting.
This is what we want to understand, because to tell you the truth, we are not the only one that is working on this field, but it was never done. Okay, something is transplanting a human gut microbiome to another human gut microbiome. That is already difficult, but they succeed because the environment that we have inside could be different, but not so different. Environments could be really, really different. So it's something that we have to try. If I take a healthy, beautiful microbiome from a soil that is, I don't know, rich of phosphorus and nitrogen, and I put in one that is completely salty, will this microbiome attach or not? Perhaps not. This is what we want to understand. Okay. I answered the question? Okay.
Well, I don't have a question, but I still have to tell you something what happened to me yesterday. Before coming here to Trieste, I decided to make a trip to Milano because here we are having our show at the Piazzetta Giuseppe Verdi. And I happened to visit the grave of Giuseppe Verdi, say hello to him. And then certain things happened. There were certain sounds coming up, and maybe Alessandro can help me which sound was coming up there. Some strange sound. So I asked Giuseppe, what are you doing down there? Che fai? Then more sounds were coming up. Giuseppe, che fai? I am decomposing. So this was it.
Thank you. So if you don't have any more questions, we will thank you. And well, I will thank, before moving to the last song, thank Heribert for being here and Iris for talking with us about this. ICGEB and the CEDRIC project for bringing this show together. Hi, I'm Fabio De Pascale, and I thank you for being here. We all thank Alessandro and Sara for their massive show. And so thanks again, thanks to Trieste Next, and see you next time.
The pay paradise and put at a parking lot with a pink hotel, a beauty and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seems to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. They took all the trees and put it in a tree museum. And then they charge all the people 25 bucks just to see them. I said, I don't know it seems to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. If I'm a farmer, put away your DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, but give me the birds and the bees. You don't know it seems to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam, and the big yellow taxi carrying off my old man. I said, I don't know it seems to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. I said, I don't know it seems to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. The pay paradise and put at a parking lot. The pay paradise, put at a parking lot. Grazie Alessandro, io sono Sara. Grazie.